This Todd-versation is brought to you in part by Calavo Growers, the family of fresh.
Hey, hi, ho, everybody. Welcome. We're super stoked you're here. I have to tell you, I am probably the most excited today of all of 2022 to have these young gentlemen hang out with me today. This is by far one of the coolest things I have come across this year. And it is an absolute honor today to not only be their Welcome to the World first time ever podcast hanging out with me, but to be able to share this story with you. Because I talk all the time on this broadcast about inspiration and be inspired. And I'm telling you right now, I have found the mother load of inspiration today. Would you please, everybody, just pull over in the car, get ready to clap, put the weights down, get out from underneath the desk so you can give a high five to the person next to you in the cubicle. Please welcome all the way over from Germany right now. Got them rolling early in the day, late in the evening. I don't even know what time it is right now. Please welcome the Chief Technology Officer, the CEO, and CFO, the COO, Jonas, Lukas, and Raphael from Plantation, which means plants in rotation. Please welcome these three superstars that are going to blow you out of the water. Gentlemen, I am stoked you're here today. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's an honor. It's my honor. I am so fired up to have you guys here today. I am so impressed with you three. I am so excited to share with people what you're doing because it is so cool. But before we do that, and you guys decide who's going first, you can fist fight it out. I don't really care. But tell everybody a little bit about who you are. Just introduce yourself if you wouldn't mind. Who's going to go first? Rock, paper, scissors. Who's going?
So I am Lukas. I'm 17 years old, and I am from the east of Germany, as we all are. I visit the Karl-Friedrich-Gauss-Gymnasium in Frankfurt-Oder. That's in eastern Brandenburg, near the Polish border. And I'm in grade 11 right now. So I'm preparing for my exams next year and trying to have some fun with Plantation and Raphael and Jonas together. So,
yeah, that's just nothing, no big deal. Just trying to prepare for college and then do this business on the side. I get it, man. Nothing to do. Crazy. I love it.
I regularly take part in several competitions in the field of mathematics and partially also informatics and chemistry, although chemistry is actually someone else's expertise here. And yeah.
I love it. All right, who's next?
Yeah, I think Rafi should go.
Yeah, so I'm Raphael. As Lukas, I'm located in the eastern part of Germany, in Brandenburg. I'm visiting also the Karl-Friedrich-Gauss-Gymnasium, which is in Mint Excellence Center, and therefore I'm taking part in several competitions regarding science and mathematics. And yes, I try to change something in the world through Plantation. That's my
I love it.
Okay, so
go ahead, Jonas.
I'll go last. I basically fill out the team. I love working on Plantation with Lukas and Rafi. We both go to the same school. So as both said, the Karl-Friedrich-Gauss-Gymnasium. For you guys, it's like a STEM school, basically.
Right.
So we have a big focus on those. And I'm really passionate about chemistry. Lukas already touched on that. Actually, my laptop is sitting on fat chemistry books. So yeah, I'm really into that, and that's also where my love and passion for Plantation comes from. And yes, so we're excited to work on this while doing school, and this works great.
It's unbelievable. I can't wait. I mean, you guys are the hottest. You're the hottest boy band in Europe right now. I'm just telling you right now. You got to be. You guys are going to break the chart. You're going to break the charts with this. Let's get into it, boys, because there's a lot to talk about here. And we spent our time prepping a little bit and going through this. I think would be really a first step for us to kind of frame up the why behind what it is that you're doing. And I know that there's a lot of passion in your heart on a lot of issues, and let's start with that if we can. And I'm going to throw the questions out. You guys decide who's going first, second, third, whatever. I don't care. But But let's talk first off and how big your concern is today for the planet's health.
Okay, so basically what kind of frustrates me is that there are certain issues to which we actually have rather obvious solutions, in my opinion, especially in the area of food and food resilience. Because right now there are certain ways we do things, certain ways agriculture works nowadays that are very inefficient and that could be fixed if we would just start fixing them. Because the solutions are already there. And so my concern for our planet's health, our planet's health stems from the issues with climate change and water crises all over the world. You can even see it in Germany, and actually we are in a very good position compared to other developing countries on other continents. So if we really, or since we experience these issues, I think that we should actually start solving them instead of always just saying, okay, well, there's climate change and there are water crises, so we gotta ration the water in Brandenburg this year. Now, it's cool that we realize there are issues, but actually there are solutions, and that's what we have to realize now, instead of just being in shock and just waiting for others to solve the problems, which is why I think that we can actually succeed with plantations in making these approaches, at least to some of these issues, more known and more popular by bringing it directly into supermarkets, which we will explain later.
Absolutely. Anybody else got a thought?
Yes, so to touch on Lucas, so I think one problem that I mainly see is that often like problems are really like seen with this negative mindset that like this is an overwhelming problem, we can't solve it. And like we have a growing population all over the world, and that will just increase the problems. So often the solution is, well, yeah, let's grow some more trees, but if we have a bigger population, then we need more space for food production, and then we have to cut down the trees and so on. So often there's this very negative mindset, but I think like for me personally, I think the most important thing is to like turn this into a positive mindset and think about the solutions that we can incorporate in our world. And that's really like the problem I see. So for our planet's health, there are lots of problems, but I think the biggest problem is that we don't tackle enough of them. So yeah, I think a positive mindset here and like really trying to solve the problems is very important.
100% agree with that. I mean, you can't, you take a look at problems today and you wonder why we can't solve them. And you take a look at the length of time that some of these problems have existed, longer than you've been on this planet. It's shocking to me. It's shocking to me here in the state that I live in the United States, water's a huge issue. And we've got communities that don't have water at the end of summer because their well systems dry up, and the plan is to fix it by 2040. Yeah. That just doesn't make any sense, right? To your point, It doesn't make that. Raphael, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, like I'd like to say, as a human race, we always face like some challenges, and also the earth is constant changing. And I guess like this right now is a point where we as a human race have to change. We have to start do something to enable a food supply to everywhere, so that everyone gets to eat food, that everyone has enough food, that everyone has enough water, especially, so that we're like being aware of our environment, and that we're being aware of our own consumption, especially when you talk about food waste and so on. So I see this right now as the chance to get to a new level, and as a chance to get to the point where we can live with our current circumstances.
Well, gentlemen, I knew this was going to be good, and we just got started. I told you, folks, if you want to be inspired, I found the 3 unicorns out there that are going to make your day a hell of a lot better. So talk to me a little bit more. Let's get more specific, right? And I want to look at what you think at this point are the biggest opportunities to make viable changes, right? Because I think that's, to your point, you know, you guys brought this up. It's like we have these issues that we don't seem to solve, right? We keep talking about them, and it's interesting that we do keep talking about it. It's like we don't want to solve them. Like some people do, some people don't. And the other side, some people do, some people don't. It's nuts. So talk to me a little bit about what you think the biggest opportunity to change is.
Thanks for joining the Todd-versation. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Hi, this is Nelia Alamo at Calavo. Thanks for listening to Todd-versations. At Calavo, we are the family of fresh. For almost 100 years, our passion has been bringing delicious and nutritious food to your table. From tasty, wholesome produce to our freshly prepared foods, Calavo is a global leader in the finest quality produce and a pioneer of healthy, fresh-cut fruits, vegetables, and prepared foods. Whether it's our farm-fresh avocados, tomatoes, Hawaiian papayas, or chef-inspired solutions including fresh-cut fruits, veggies, guacamole, and much more, Calavo takes pride in delivering our fabulously fresh products every day. It's our promise from our foodie family to yours. Check us out at calavo.com and learn why we are excited about your fresh possibilities ahead.
So in my opinion, you gotta start first by analyzing what's the exact issue. So one of the big issues is the water crisis. It means we don't have enough water that we can actually drink. It's not that there isn't enough water at all. It's just the water we can drink isn't there or not enough of it. So that means we gotta look where we use it and where we use too much of it and where we waste it. And a big part of that nowadays is still agriculture, because a lot of water is being contaminated with fertilizers as well as pesticides. That means the water is still there, of course, but it is being contaminated to an increasing degree. And we just don't stop pouring all these chemicals into the water. So we gotta see where there are ways to just maybe not use them at all, use these chemicals more efficiently, or find ways to get them out of the water again. And one solution, obviously, would be to only give plants as much water as they actually need. And you can do that by simply taking away the soil from below the plants, so that you can collect all the water they don't soak up, and you can use that water again and again until the plants actually consume that water. And that means that you can cut water consumption dramatically. And therefore, you can already save a lot of water. Another issue is that animals right now, livestock, they consume a lot of soy. And all the soy obviously needs water to be grown. Now, what would be a solution? Eat less meat. And in order to decrease meat consumption, you need alternatives, which could obviously be lettuce, among others. And so as lettuce can be grown aeroponically very easily, it is very easy actually to solve that part of the issue. Obviously, there are more aspects to this equation. For example, I think it's the Colorado River, whose water is being used by Constellation brands,
right,
downstream towards Mexico, I think. And so the local communities there don't have enough drinking water anymore. And well, maybe just don't build a factory that uses a whole bunch of water where you actually need a whole bunch of water for the population. So these issues are easy to solve, at least easy in the way that we know how to solve them. And now we just got to do it. And that's why I think it is actually a very obvious solution to use hydroponics, to use aeroponics, and to just analyze these issues more instead of just naming the issues.
Yes, so if I may touch on that.
Please.
Yeah, so I think one very important thing is to zoom out, because we're all focused on problems, but if you zoom out, if you think about it, what does everyone has to do every day? Everybody eats every day and everybody drinks. And then if you look at it, basically there are a lot of problems, and if you think about them, you see them, and then like this is really the opportunity to go to the root of the problems and try solving them from there, because there are problems that lead to more problems, and then if you're just solving like the tip of the iceberg, that isn't really a major change. So you really want to zoom out, look at the root of the problem, and then try to solve that one, and that's then the big problem that you're solving, and that's what we're trying to do.
I love it. Rafi, anything?
Yeah, like I like to see like this whole thing of like eating food and growing it and so on is like a whole circle, and to like actually target some problems in this circle, you have to look at this whole circle and look where can I optimize the things that are going on that right there. So in our case, we looked at the fields and we said, oh, okay, like there's so much water going just waste in the ground. There's so much fertilizers that are used, and yes, so I like to see it like as a whole thing, and then I try to optimize specific things about it.
I love it. You guys are already blowing me out of the water. We're 2 questions deep.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, because we talked a little bit about your worrying about the planet's future, and I think it's so important that people take time to listen to folks like you that are the next generation, that are the ones that are going to be having to pick up the mess that people in front of you have continued to make. And I think it's so impactful for people to hear that, you know, at your age in high school, you're thinking about these things at a much deeper level than probably a boatload of people 3 times your age are actually thinking about it. So individually, I want to ask this question of you. What has impacted you the most that really got you to kind of get your call to action? I mean, what was the moment, that aha moment that said, this is it, I got to go do this? Who's going first?
Yeah, so maybe I'll start.
Okay.
So obviously you understand where things that are going on. Like at a certain age, you understand, okay, we have climate change, and politicians, some are trying to do something, some still say.
Oh, we lost Jonas.
Personally,
there he is.
And I had this aha moment that you were talking about, was when like climate goals were set and then they were not met and people were like pushing them back. And to me, I don't see how you can push these goals back, like, because like for me this is like the major issue, because this is like the human species, this is our planet, and then like I think I should change something.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Who's next?
Okay. For me, one of the huge points was water drought in Brandenburg too, because I already touched the issue several times.
Sure.
It's really something that we experience here too. And often you have just numbers somewhere in the news that tell you there is a problem, but this is something that we actually see and experience in our everyday lives throughout the summer. And so I think that's what made me want to change something about it.
Love it. Rafi.
Yeah, so I'd say like experiencing that this is like such a big problem, experiencing that like seas, like especially lakes, you know, like environment in our region, having so much water going to waste and losing so much water, that was like a point to me to realize, okay, there's something wrong, we need to change it. And that's like what motivated me to like start this whole thing and to like try to find a solution for that problem. And yes.
I love it. I'll tell you what, guys, that is unbelievable answers. And I think, again, incredibly important that the world hears what's in the heart of our next generation. And you guys are doing a great job explaining that. So now we framed up part of this story about the why and what it is. Let's get to the meat of the story. Let's get to chapter 3 here. Let's get everybody up to speed. What is Plantation? And I can't wait to get into this. So who's going first?
Okay, so
Yeah, so
basically,
Lukas
yeah.
first. Lay it on me, Lukas. What's because you're the CEO. You're just bossing people around. I can already see it. And by the way, let me just ask before we get any farther, before you ask the question, who wins the arguments amongst you three?
I think it's a very democratic process.
Yeah.
It's good that we're three people, so
I
this
love it.
works really well.
I love it. I love it. All right, here we go. So tell everybody, Lukas, lay it on me, brother. Tell me, what is Plantation?
Okay, so basically the plantation is it's like a cabinet in which you can grow plants, but you don't grow them like you would on a field. Instead, you use rotating drums. So you gotta imagine that you have these drums and there are plants that grow towards the outside of the drums, while their roots are on the inside of the drums. And then you don't just have two drums next to each other or something. Instead, you place them on top of each other on several levels. In our case, those are 3 levels. And that means that you can grow about 1,300 plants per month in one plantation. It's about 2 meters wide and 6 meters long. And there you basically grow all your plants and you can use it all year. You have a completely closed system inside this cabinet, which means that you have no pests that could disturb the plants growing. And therefore, you don't need any pesticides or any of these chemicals. What you do need, though, is fertilizer. However, you need much less as it is a closed cycle.
Right.
And that means you can grow all your plants inside the plantation all year long and only need 9 square meters of ground acreage to grow all your plants.
Unbelievable. So they're growing in drums, right? So before I say, anybody else want to throw anything on top of that? Jonas,
You know, I think he covered
kind of
it.
nailed it. Yeah, he kind of nailed it. That's his CEO. We got to have goals. We expect him to nail stuff. So I got to ask this question, because we're talking about drums, right? We're talking about plants in rotation. Where did this idea come from? I mean, did somebody wake up one morning and go, "Hey, I got an idea"? I mean, where did it come from?
Okay,
Yeah, so it's a long story. Lukas can start. I'll jump in.
Okay. So basically, I just heard of vertical farming, and Raphael and we were both interested in the topic. And through a YouTube video, I heard of the so-called Orwell effect. Because an institute in Germany, the Fraunhofer Institute, you may know it actually, published a study on this effect and how it can affect plant growth. And so we got into the topic and took a deeper dive into the issue, into the matter. And we actually found out that one of the students at our school was working on a similar project for a science competition for youth. And he actually won there. So we talked to him about how to optimize the environment for plants to grow in order to maximize their growth with minimal efforts of energy, water, and fertilizer. And that's how we got to work on Plantation. I approached
exactly.
so that we could work together, and then we got Jonas.
Yeah, so Lukas and Rafi approached me and asked whether I wanted to hop on the train, basically, and work with them on the project. And yeah, so I was really excited. And we started out with a concept that was like a small cube. You can imagine like a washing machine, maybe, that you put in your kitchen to grow your plants at home. And we figured out what this concept should look like and so on. And we worked on it for a competition here that's called Startup Teams. So it's specifically for youth who want to build their own startups. And then with this competition, there come like mentors and so on. And after some time, after refining the concept and so on, we talked to our mentor. It was like really close to the deadline, but we asked them what they thought about our concept. And she basically said, yeah, that sounds great. But what if you guys use like, put put the plantation in the stores and not into the homes of the people, of the individuals. So we basically in 1 week drew up this whole new concept, like made new 3D models and everything ahead of and we got it done. So that was great.
Did you win?
No, I think we got fourth place. We needed like 2% of votes or something more, and then we would have gotten into the final round.
Well,
But
we're going to take a new vote after this podcast to see if we can't get you to win across this country.
Yeah, exactly. So that was our mentor, Dr. Julia Köhn. And then we like worked on several competitions, like working on our business plan, which we have done like the past 2 years a lot. And there was also one international competition, that Thought for Food Challenge. I don't know if you've heard. We took part. Sadly, we didn't get to fly out to Brooklyn, but that's okay. That was basically the first time we wrote our business plan in English as well. And like since then, we really improved our concept and made it so really efficient. Now, just last month, we went to another competition where we were finalists. So we were again in the top 7. And we got lots of feedback from people in the industry and like from investors. And like the main feedback was that it should be smaller. And so we did that. And now we basically have a very, very efficient version of the plantation that we can or are trying to put into stores.
Unbelievable. Rafi, you got anything to throw on top?
Yes, I'd like to say that we're like not finished already. I'd say that there will be some changes, I guess. So we're constantly improving, constantly looking for like things to improve on our like plantation. And that's why I guess 2 years from now, 3 years from now could be like a whole different model. Let's see.
3 years from now, you guys, 3 years from now, you're going to be owning the world. I can see it. The three new Elons are in front of me right now. I can see that. By the way, Elon, let's talk real
His
fast.
brother's in the industry.
Yeah, he is. He does indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He's got a company here that says it's pretty interesting. Kendall Musk is his name. Tell me though, honestly, do you think Elon's an alien? Yes or no?
Well, I guess if he is,
Yeah,
then
okay,
he
so that's
must have
one yes.
very advanced technology in order to get here in the first place. And so we probably won't find out, as he is so much more advanced than we are.
Well said. Well said. Okay, so we're growing these plants inside. We're moving these things over to the grocery stores now. We're taking them to the stores because that way people can have food on demand, fresh as can possibly be. But you're using a system called aeroponics, right? And if you wouldn't mind, because some people do know, some people don't know, can you just explain what is aeroponics and how this system, kind of its growing methodology a little bit?
So aeroponics means that you basically take away all the soil from the plants, and you say, actually, you just need the roots, because the roots are where the plants get their water from. And now you still got to get water to the roots. Now, what do? You can either just let them touch water, or you can spray water onto the roots or into the air where the roots are, using mist nozzles. So you basically just create mist. You don't have to use mist nozzles necessarily. There is also ultrasonic wave technology, which creates these tiny droplets using ultrasonic sound. And using that, you create that mist. And this mist is able to give these plants both a lot of water, but also a lot of oxygen, because that's often an issue that in soil and other substrates, the plants or the roots specifically don't get enough air. And with aeroponics, you don't have that issue. And in addition to that, you can always just collect all the water that the plants don't use, which is most of the water actually, and just reuse it over and over again.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we do. So you have to imagine, so basically when the plants are like really small, when they're just seeds, the problem is they don't have like you can't use aeroponics. So we grow them until they have roots that are, so you can grow them in the plantation until they have roots that are long enough to like
Right.
use for aeroponics. And then like in the drums that Lucas described earlier, like because the plants grow outwards and the roots go inwards, the drum as itself is like a closed environment of itself. So you have the plantation and then the drum. And so there you have the mist nozzles that are basically giving the water to the roots of the rotating plantation. So you don't have to of the rotating drum. So you don't have to have lots of mist nozzles because the plants are rotating around it. And you're really creating this high density of the water. And everything that's not used just goes back into the water cycle. And that's how we basically get 95% of water less. And I think that's pretty amazing.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Raph, you got anything to add? I mean, it's kind of, if not, I'll
No,
move to
nothing.
no, yeah, that kind of hit. So let's get into this because this is what just blows me out of the water and is so fascinating. Talk to me about what is the orbital effect.
So basically, like the Fraunhofer Institute, like they found it, and it says that plants who experience a constant realignment in the gravitational field,
Right.
they release growth hormones, so-called. I'm too fast.
Unreal.
Okay, so I have to slow down.
Are you okay?
Oh, okay. So yes, like the orbital effect is like an effect that occurs to plants when you realign them in the gravitational field. So when you rotate them, they actually start to produce growth hormones, which leads them to like grow better and like even though a bit faster. So it's actually pretty good for the plant to be rotated, since also the light source is evolving and it's going around the plant. So since the plant is moving away from the light, the plant tries to grow through to the light, and that way the plants grow better and faster.
Yeah,
Unreal.
so you basically have to imagine plants grow upwards, right? If you plant your plant, it grows upwards. But our plants with the drum is rotating. So some of the plants are facing downwards, some are facing sidewards, and so on, you know? Like plants want to grow upward. They don't want to face downwards. So some specific plants do, but like basically lettuce, for example, wants to grow upwards. And now there is this hormone or this group of hormone called auxins, and this is what the orbitropical effect is actually really talking about. So, or what it is about. Auxins, so these hormones are released when the plants are like hanging down, and because they want to grow upwards. So those hormones are released that increase the growth of the plants. And okay, some might say, okay, maybe that's not a big difference, but it's actually, so the plants grow 30% faster with that. And that is a dramatic increase. If you count like 30 days as a normal cultivation circle or cultivation time, and then you have like just 21 days. So you cut down 9 days. That's a big increase if you consider how many plants you can grow and how you can scale the system. So it really makes a big difference, the orbital. And this is really what the rotating drums are all about. And you have to say, like, this rotation, it's not like really fast. It's like a few degrees all the time, or sometimes the plants are like staying still. So it's not like really fast, right? But it makes a big difference for the plants.
So let me come back around. I know, Lukas, I'm sure you probably want to chime in here. Okay, but I want to come back around and frame this up a little bit. So what you're saying is that you figured out that if you slowly rotate the plants, right, and you flip them upside down like they're doing a handstand, right, you basically realign the plant's gravity matter, right? Or better yet, we could say the effect of the gravity is, the realignment of the plant is causing the plant to produce growth hormones that are making the plant grow faster because of this rotation. Correct?
Correct.
Just for everybody out there that's going, what? Because I guarantee you there's a whole lot of people on the other end of this broadcast are going, what? And are blown away by what you're saying. So how did you figure that guy? You know, and again, Lucas, keep coming behind Jonas if you want, whatever, but how the hell did you figure that out? I mean, come on, lay it on me. Give me the secret sauce on that idea.
Well, as Raphael also said, that it isn't our research that actually showed this effect in the first place. It was known for a very long time that there is a so-called geotropism, which basically means plants grow upwards.
Right.
And if they don't face upwards anymore, then they change the direction they grow in so that they grow upwards again. And now the question that the researchers at Fraunhofer Institute asked themselves was, if we change position over and over and over again, will they still try to grow upwards? And yeah, they will. But not only will they grow upwards, also will they release more hormones to grow faster. And so really that research isn't our own research. However, we want to participate in Jugendforscht in the next round. So Jugendforscht is translated as youth doing research, or youth researching. And there we want to submit a thesis, a work, a paper that further elaborates on this matter and tries to better understand how exactly this works, because we still don't know. You have to consider the fact that these auxins, which cause the plants to grow faster, can also cause them to grow slower. And there are differences between various plants. So some plants actually grow faster due to this effect. Some grow slower. For example, there is one auxin that is also used in herbicides because it can actually hinder plants from growing faster. So you really gotta find out, or we want to find out, how this really works and what this is based on a biological level.
Yeah, and I think right now the big thing is really applying it to vertical farming, because you know there are lots of vertical farming startups. Once you get into the industry, you like really get to know some of the startups, and it's magnificent what they do. But like they use or most of them use this conventional system of growing them on different levels, and so we applied the research to this vertical farming system, and it shows a big improvement.
Unreal. Unreal. I'm trying to come up with the next question. I don't even know if I got another one. I mean, you guys are leveling me right now. This is so brilliant. So because of what you've learned, right? And I'll throw another question at you guys. Because of what you've learned, I mean, what do you think that, you talked about it briefly earlier about yield increase per acre in your system as compared to like what's going on field grown? Have you guys looked at that? Because I'm sure that's the first question a lot of these investors are going to ask you is like, what, great, you've got this fancy system, but what are you doing? What can you produce? So can you share a little bit about that? If you can, if you can't, I understand, but if you wouldn't mind, just give us a little snippet of info.
Yes, we can. Because we also want to maybe get other people to join the vertical farming community and to try it on their own. So if you assume you have a cultivation period of 30 days, then speed it up by 30%, that's just 21 days left.
Right.
If you grow with a cultivation period of 30 days, then you get an annual yield in a plantation of 15,768 plants. It's probably not this exact number, but this is our own calculation. If you decrease the cultivation period to just 21 days, so by 30%, then you can grow an astonishing 22,526 plants per year in one plantation. That equals 872 kilograms of lettuce per square meter, while with 30 days, you're at just 610 kilograms of lettuce per square meter.
Unreal. Anybody else got a thought, or you guys let the CEO drop the bomb there?
So one more thing to note is that the yield increase compared to agriculture, to conventional agriculture, is enormous. So because like on 1 square meter, conventional agriculture can grow 1 square meter of plants, but on 1 square meter we can grow so much more, and I think that's really important.
It's hugely important, because it goes back to what we talked about in the beginning of the broadcast about how we're going to make positive changes in this planet and actually get them done. Right. And your point's valid. We got 9.5 billion people to feed on this planet by 2050. And that doesn't even count what I think we're going to be coming with the aliens, because they're coming down before 2050. I'm sure of that. You know, they got to come see, they got to go see Elon anyways. But nonetheless, you know, I mean, you make such a great point about that. And again, you touched on water a little bit, but your water usage, when you think about what you're doing, is so minimal because of the fact you've got them in a closed drum. You're recycling it, you're pushing it back through, right? So can you talk a little bit about, you know, water usage compared to what's going on outside as well, just to frame it up a little more in detail?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, for us, so our motivation is a lot of like water scarcity and so on. So with Plantation, we really wanted to cut down the water usage, because it's a big problem in the agricultural business. And like, as we explained, using aeroponics really makes this possible. So I already said that we have 95% less water usage in the plantation for the same amount of lettuce. But like in like real numbers, what does that mean? Like, for example, conventional agriculture uses up about 240 liters of water per kilogram of lettuce. For us, that's 5 liters of water. And if you think about it on a scale of like tons, thousands of tons of lettuce, that's an enormous advantage and decrease in water usage. So that's really, really important.
Unbelievable. Rafi, you got anything you want to throw on it?
Yeah, I'd like to highlight the importance of that. So we talked about water, the droughts and water scarcity and so on. And actually, when you're facing like problems like this, it is so important to actually save that water and not to just like pump it into the fields. That's why our approach with those just 5 liters that you need compared to like a normal field is like pretty much the solution, in our opinion, to this problem.
Thanks for joining the Todd-versation. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Hi, this is Nelia Alamo at Calavo. Thanks for listening to Todd-versations. At Calavo, we are the family of fresh. For almost 100 years, our passion has been bringing delicious and nutritious food to your table. From tasty, wholesome produce to our freshly prepared foods, Calavo is a global leader in the finest quality produce and a pioneer of healthy, fresh-cut fruits, vegetables, and prepared foods. Whether it's our farm-fresh avocados, tomatoes, Hawaiian papayas, or chef-inspired solutions including fresh-cut fruits, veggies, guacamole, and much more, Calavo takes pride in delivering our fabulously fresh products every day. It's our promise from our foodie family to yours. Check us out at calavo.com and learn why we are excited about your fresh possibilities ahead.
So let's, so we're looking at putting these things into, I would imagine, grocery stores. These things could go into hospitals. These things, I mean, this system, because it's not massive, I mean, they really can go in a lot of places, which I think is really, really cool, because one of the big things that people talk about a lot is food miles, bringing the food closer to people, and being able to cut down transportation costs and cut down that carbon footprint, all these other things. So it's just amazing to me. I got to imagine at this point, guys, and we're going to have a little bit of fun. I got to imagine at this point that you're kind of the golden boys out there right now, the venture capital people. There's a lot of people wearing suits calling you and talking to you and this and that, I would imagine. You're probably a big deal at school right now because you got this crazy idea. I imagine your siblings probably are getting a little bit annoyed with you in some ways with what you're going on. I mean, how does it feel to have so much energy and positivity around you with this idea? It's got to be inspiring.
So, well, I think to separate it into different questions. So first of all, my siblings are not annoyed. They don't live in our house anymore. They are adults. Besides that, my brother just doesn't like that I am always doing something and always saying, yeah, well, I don't have that much time. But because he thinks it's like hilarious considering my age, but whatever. We
love
are
it.
not really the golden boys of the venture capital world. However, we
Not
are in
yet.
touch with not yet with two venture capitalists or former venture capitalists who help us as sparring partners, who are there to give us feedback, to support us, and to just talk about our ideas and possible new approaches. And
Yeah.
what I think,
Sorry. Yeah, for my brother, so I have two brothers as well. And so like my one brother was pretty annoyed today because I basically kicked him out of the room for 2 hours. So but other than that, it's all good.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Sorry, Lucas, go on.
okay, so what I think is really important is our environment at school, because our teachers are very supportive. For example, you have to get you have to get teachers' allowance or permission to attend outer curricular, extracurricular events. Like, for example, this one Werner ceremony we attended 2 weeks ago with Plantation. And so they really give us all these permissions. They really support us there. They're saying, yeah, well, keep me up to date. Tell us what's going on. Our German teacher wants to publish an article in the school's own newspaper. And so I think that is very important, that we get all the support at school, especially because also our biology teacher, for example, is helping us with with an application for funding from youth researching, or Jugendforscht as it's actually called. And I think that is key to our motivation.
Unbelievable. Rafa, you got anything?
I was just gonna say, like, we're all like getting like motivated also from people, and it was pretty much like we had this competition where we had to like collect votes and so on. And actually, we got so much support from our school and the students there. So
That's awesome.
It's pretty nice.
I mean, I love it. This is just so amazing to me. I mean, look, you're taking this idea and you're literally coming from a place, as we established in the beginning of our time chatting together, from your heart, which I think is incredibly important, about how you're going to make contributions to change the world. Is it sunk in a little bit? I mean, as what you guys have accomplished and what we've talked about, even just what we've talked about today, has it kind of sunk in that you guys are going, hey, we are going to make a difference in this planet. We are going to make changes. Who knows? I mean, because look, you're on a path right now. You have no idea what the path's going to look like tomorrow, right? But you're still going to keep forging ahead. Has it sunk in a little bit? Is it getting, I mean, does it start to get more exciting as this thing gets going?
So definitely, yes.
Yeah. So for me personally, sometimes it feels like really unreal, like what we're doing, but like most of the time it's just heads down, work on this thing and try to improve it. And like for me, I realize like these things, like what we're really doing, and like from the feedback that we get from other investors, like we got from you, that was amazing. And yeah, so some of it's sunken, but some of it still feels pretty unreal.
I love it. What do you think? Same thing for you? Same thing for you other two? Just kind of, it's got to be a wild ride.
Yeah, definitely. So I'd say like it's new every single time. So you're getting to new levels, you experience new things, and you feel more mature by day. And it's like pretty nice to see this whole thing evolving and changing throughout the years. And Yes, definitely. So I also say like maybe in 2 years time, we have like a way bigger perspective. We will have like so big changes in our mentality, I'd say. So it's pretty interesting to be a part of this journey and to actually like do something bigger than ourselves.
Unreal.
Making me realize how real this has actually become in the past few months was probably the Startup Teams competition, because you got to imagine there's this second round of the competition where you have to collect votes after a jury pre-selected certain business plans. You have to win in or get into third place, at least in an online voting. And so you gotta talk to all your friends and connections if they could vote for you. And in the first few days, we were like, oh, we got so many votes, we were gonna win. But then we saw the first numbers and we were actually just before the very last team. And we started to realize, oh, okay, this is not going to work out if we're not increasing our efforts to actually get these votes in. So we talked to our head teacher, our principal, who allowed us to put these posters, these flyers up in school, on the walls and yeah, on the toilets, so that you are forced to look at them and can't look anywhere else. And we got some votes, but it still didn't work out. We were still in fourth place, and we had to get into third place or second place to make it into the next round. So I really had to get out of my comfort zone, and we decided that we would go through the whole school, visit every single class during lessons, and stand in front of the whole class, which is not our own class, but some random class at school, and explain to them why they should vote for us. We collected, I think, like 280 votes that day or something like that. And unfortunately, we didn't make it, but that really made me realize how real this competition is, or this whole project is, because now my name is really attached to this. There's no way back. Everyone at school knows, okay, he's working on this. And when I'm occasionally being asked, how does it go? How's it going? I always think like, okay, well, they still remember that's me, and I can't get out of this anymore. So yeah, my name's attached to that. Also, when we talk to these venture capitalists that I mentioned, then you really start to realize, okay, yeah, they take me seriously. They want to help us, they support us. And now we got to deliver because this is real.
Yeah, well, there's no look. You guys are you're not playing in the shallow end of the pool anymore. You guys are swimming out in the deep end now, and you've got an idea that is literally going to change the world. It really is. It's super powerful. It's super cool. It really is. So let's frame it back up a little bit and just kind of come back around as we wind down our time together. I mean, so. What's next? What's the vision for Plantation? Give me kind of what your thoughts are on where you're going to head and what's going to be next.
Yeah, so basically for us three, so I mean, we're still in school, right? So we have our like graduation, so Abitur, it's called in Germany, coming up in 2024. But put that aside, we're like heads down on Plantation right now, and we're really trying to bring Plantation forward, to build our plantations, to bring them into stores. And after school, we thought a lot about like really focusing on Plantation and trying to really evolve our vision. And yeah.
I love it. Everybody else?
I think Jonas nailed it.
I think Jonas nailed it. I think you all nailed it. Let's be honest. You've nailed it for the last 45 minutes of talking. You guys have blown me out of the water. I am so incredibly impressed with the three of you. I am so incredibly impressed with the passion that comes out of you. let alone your vision, right? I mean, but the passion that's coming out of your heart, the passion in your words, coming from a place of wanting to do better for your generation and the generation below you and the generations in front of you is so unbelievably commendable. And it is so inspiring. I have to tell you, this has been an absolute blast to hang out with you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it definitely
We
was.
appreciate it.
I'm super impressed. Yeah, absolutely. You guys, you're welcome back anytime. I want you to come back. I want an update. We're going to do this. I want to see how you guys are doing. I want to follow you. If we have to vote, if you need people to help you vote on stuff, you let me know. We'll get it out across the world. We got a lot of people that pay attention to what we say. I'll get you. We'll stuff some ballot boxes. No more. Not. We're going to win everything going out from now. I'm going all in with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. It's just absolutely a pleasure. Folks, as I told you, Plantation, these three young gentlemen are going to change the world, and you got to see it right here first. Their very first podcast coming across here to the States, talking to people about what they're doing. This is what this platform is all about. This is what we need to be doing. Invest in our youth, invest in these ideas. All you venture capital guys that are listening out here, oh yeah, you better hurry up because the line's going to get long and they're going to get a lot more expensive. I can see it coming. Boys, I'm very proud of you. It's been my honor to have you on this broadcast. Absolutely mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
for having
Pleasure.
us.
It's absolutely a pleasure. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care. Be good to each other. Remember, I talk about it all the time. Go inspire somebody. These kids are inspiring the hell out of me today. They better inspire you. Take care.